The gyro function is basically a new input that could benefit a lot of people if and only if you take the time to learn it the right way. Now guys, listen to me closely when I say this. After turning on the gyro settings, do not try to build and do retakes because you'll end up looking like this. This input gives you one-to-one tracking, and as controller players, we're not used to that. In this video, I'll be going over the building and editing settings and what you need to do to improve on this new input. Let's waste no more time, let's get right into it. Now, if you didn't know, to turn on your gyro settings, just go to settings, go to the touch and motion tab here, and remember you need to have a DualShock controller. It needs to either be DualShock 4 or DualSense 5, and I have a DualShock 4 with me right here. Alright, now for active mode combat, you want this on always. Trust me, you'll be better off having this on always than just having it on scope, aim, harvesting, or just scoped or aiming. And now for active mode, you want this on always as well. Now for look stick effect, you want this on none, and I'll explain why. Now I strongly recommend that you have look stick effect set to none, and this way you don't turn off the gyro by accident when using stick aiming. Okay, so think of it like this. So the gyro is you controlling where your head is looking, right? The stick controls is you controlling where your body is facing. So if you put that option on, so if turning your body disables your ability to turn your head, that means that you won't be able to aim precisely while turning your body. So honestly, just have this option off. Okay, now let's talk about sensitivity. So I have mine at 3.9. I would recommend not going anywhere above this for the moment. Okay, you can go a little bit lower, but I would recommend starting at 3.9 so you have some room to work with, because trust me, if you have this too high, it'll be too uncontrollably fast. Keep it at that. If you're not ready, you will get dizzy from it. So to start off, keep it at 3.9, then from there you can customize it to your liking. Now on over to the vertical horizontal ratio, keep this at a 1:1. The setting is grayed out for the moment. Now acceleration, keep this off, and let me explain why. So if you turn acceleration off, this will make sure that your camera has a 1:1 ratio tracking of your movements. Okay, so you want this to always be at a 1:1. You see, this acceleration here is the same thing as mouse acceleration. Now if I want to aim in on this opponent, as you can see, my controller is in line straight with my monitor. Now if I go to the right, then I snap back to the middle, you see how it overshoots, but my controller is still straight with the monitor. You don't want this to happen, so just turn acceleration off. Okay, now onto the flick stick option. Now I would just recommend having this off when starting off, because this completely changes the use of your right stick. So when you have this on, you get this confirm warning, you click on X, and then you have all of these other settings that it comes with. Now let me show you an example of what flick stick actually does. Now I have these 4 walls here to explain this example that I'm going to show, and you can see that each of these are different walls. What flick stick does, basically, it lets you turn in the 4 directions: north, east, west, and south by the flick of the right stick. And if you want to do a quick U-turn, basically just flick down. This is really good, but as a beginner with this new gyro setting, I would recommend to have it off until you get used to the actual gyro movement, and then turning it on later. Now for the advanced gyro settings, you want to turn this on, turn that on, and now here you have more sensitivity, more settings that you can play around with. Now think of these sensitivity multipliers the same thing as your actual controller multipliers right here for your build mode and edit mode. So that's what it is. You know, it has the base sensitivity, which is this right here, and then it has its multipliers for its different build modes, different edit modes. Okay, let's go back to the touch and motion settings. Now for the base sensitivity over here, I have it at 3.9. Now the reason I have it at 3.9 is because after testing, I found that 3.9 is good for right now. I will definitely be changing this in the future. And for the scope multiplier, I left it the same. Aim multiplier, I kind of turned it down a little so that I can have more precise aim when I'm moving around. And a harvesting multiplier, if you didn't know, you can also harvest with your pickaxe by using the gyro motion as well. Now building multiplier and edit, I have it at 1.6 and 1.4. Now for zoom scale sensitivity, I just kept that on. I didn't change that. And now for gyro space, this is where it gets interesting, guys. Now listen up. So local is basically the linear input of the touch and motion settings, and player is basically the expo input of the touch and motion settings. Because when going on local, everything is instant, and when going on player, there's kind of a delay. So if you played expo and linear before and tried them both, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm still testing out to see which one is best on this different type of input, but after playing around with it for 3 days, I would definitely recommend to keep it on local. Putting it on player is going to be difficult, even though the explanation that it shows up there makes more sense, but trust me, keep it on local when you're starting out to get used to it easily. Now for these 3 settings here, I left them as is, and for these settings here, I'm pretty sure these will be useful later on, but as of right now, we're not going to touch any of the rest of the settings that are left. And after you have down exactly what I put down here, now we're going to go into the building and editing aspect. Let's get get to it. Now wait, before you go right into building, you need to do these two things that I'm going to talk about right now. So load up in creative and put in this map code. You may already know it, and it's called Flea's Edit Dictionary. Whenever you're starting on a new input and want to work on your edits, this is hands down one of the best maps to start off with. Use the same sensitivity settings that I showed earlier in the video during all of these edit drills. Now as soon as you load into the map, you'll grab a grappler, then you'll see that there's about 4 sections here, but I just want you to focus on the tunnels to start off with. Right now, real quick on your screen, I'm going to show you the best position that I believe that you should have your arms and hands at if you want to play with this input. You should have your forearms resting on the edge of your desk, because your forearms should not be the one moving your controller. It should be your hands and your wrists. Now on to the first drill, which is just single wall edits. And like with everything, like I always say, it's best to turn off sprint by default whenever you have to, so that you get the full motion down before going full speed. And the benefit with doing this is that you can still move completely forward with your left stick to get that feel of going full speed while still having more time to complete the movement. And because this is a new input, you had to relearn optimal crosshair placement. That's why you really need to take your time with this at the beginning so that it carries on over to everything else you do in the future. Now there's a lot more sections that you can do with the tunnel section of this map, and I promise you that when you're done with all of the edit drills in the tunnel section, the building aspect of this will come so much easier rather than if you were to just turn on the gyro setting and then start building right away. And now let's move on over to the part that we all been waiting for, and those are the building drills of this new input. But here's a crucial bind that you need to set up right away for whenever your hand movements and character movements are not matching up. Now go into your controller binds and then find somewhere that's unbound. Then from there, click on there, scroll all the way down until you find reset camera / gyro modifier. And whenever your camera isn't calibrated with your hand movement, meaning that whenever your camera is not going along with your actual hand movement, just click that button to reset it. And I set mine to right on D-pad, because technically you're learning a new input. You'll basically have to learn everything from zero. So it'll be crucial to relearn some of the basic fundamental moves in Fortnite. Here's an example with the ramp, floor, wall. As always, start off slow and then keep increasing the speed as you get comfortable with it. Then you have the double stair, double wall, just like this, like before. Start slow, then increase as you feel more comfortable with it. Then the all famous clicks 90s. These are crucial, so learn these. Remember, take your time, take it slow, and then increase as you feel more comfortable. Now we have this bizzle tarp here, or some people call it the zigzag tarp. This is very crucial for endgame situations. You need to learn this. And now this basic ramp, floor, wall tarp. It's a mat conserving tarp and comes in handy in a lot of situations. So learning this will be very crucial as well. And last but not least, what you need to learn are side jumps. This is just a regular side jump, nothing too fancy with it. You're placing a floor in a cone, then you're jumping and landing on a floor, and repeat it over and over again until you get that feel down. Then you can do it both to the left and the right and change it up as you wish. And that's the end of this building and editing guide for this new gyro input. Let me know if I should make more building drills that you can use to get used to this input easier. And the next video that'll be coming out will be on how to perfect your aim with the new gyro settings. So be on the lookout for that, because it's coming very soon. Alright boys, thank you for watching it to the end. As always, my name is Liquid. See you in the next one. Peace.